Alright guys, this was the semifinals match in the tournament, in Turin's 1v1 tournament. This is against Prime, who's playing as Japanese. And this will be kind of a nice way to show you guys a little bit the new civs in comparison the old civs. The one bad aspect is that we are playing against a player of a different skill level. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I can check again, kind of like I did last time, what his elo is. It might be a little bit difficult because there's a lot of primes that play the game. Okay, so he's got 1400 elo. So he's right now he's a diamond 3. He's a diamond 3 and he is but he's 1400 elo, so he's conqueror elo right now. So yeah, that's a good sign actually. This is a game that we could be feasibly running into on ranked. But if you look at the builds here, the openings, he doesn't go for Takizaiku. Oh no, he does. He already has. He's gone for the early wheelbarrow. 7 on food. On berries. 3 on gold. We're doing a fast H2. This map is cliff size. It's pretty interesting. This cliff in the middle it makes for some interesting play. It makes for some interesting dynamics for sure. Goes up to 4 on gold, so it's kind of interesting for me to see him go up to 4. So I've been playing a bit of Japanese myself. I haven't per se like really figured out a perfect build for them yet in like every scenario, but I definitely like the kind of a Onabu Geisha into aggression type of a play. So I'm curious to see what his splits are here. 8, 1, and 4. So I feel like he's not pulling up enough on food. I mean, he's got the timing here, right? He's at 2 minutes 30, and he's got enough to age up here. And he pulls the 4 food villager or gold villagers onto stone. He can age up now. He's gonna pull 3 villagers, leave 4. Good placement here for the Kuro storehouse. It's in a good spot. And he's long mining the gold. Or the stone. Trades in the wood. Drops the forge here. So, definitely not bad gameplay. It's just interesting macro decisions. It's definitely a lot of... Like, he's trying to min-max here, I think, as much as he can, right? Going on to stone, and he's going to go... This has got to be a rush for the daimyo upgrade. So the daimyo manor increases production cap of bannermen by 1 and provides a free villager, which is really nice. It also only takes 20 seconds, so that one free villager, that villager that you lose in production, you're not actually losing, you're still getting it. Increases town center health by 1,000, adds an additional arrow slit, and adds an R which enhances villager farm rate by 25%. And that R is basically your TC range, so. And very interesting. Goes up to 6 on wood, 7 on wood. And with my build, I go up to 7 on wood, and then I stop. Though I think you can probably actually stop a little bit sooner. He drops an early barracks. Pre-age up. So this is already a little bit cleaner than my build that I do. Which I definitely gotta take some notes. Personally myself as well, because this is definitely a clean little age up here. He scouts my base, he sees the range. We're rallying still onto food. We got a 7-4-3. These villagers have built the archery range, we're going to get Mangadite in production, 2 on wood, 2 on the gold, giving us 765. That will give us plenty of wood to keep producing infrastructure, and really we're just focusing on producing units. He's aged up, he's got his barracks out, he's started to chop for archery range. There's the archery range. A lot of village sheep here. These sheep should really hustle over to the TC. I guess there's no rush, but you just get a really nice pull on sheep in general. Curl Storehouse working as a drop-off point. That's a nice little move there too. I like that placement. You're losing 1, maybe 2 farms temporarily. You know, the Curl Storehouse will just keep popping farms on the other slots, so you got plenty of time to clear this forest, and it serves as an early lumber camp. So yeah, I really like this placement actually. At first I wasn't sure about it, but actually looking now, it's a really nice placement, because if you place it over here, it's a lot more exposed. Yeah, so that's a really nice placement overall. So here we are, we're coming into raid. He's got his Yumi Ashigaru out, and they're 60 health, 4 damage, and we have 85 health, 5 damage. So we are able to kind of fight this. The big thing is our DPS, right? We have a lot more DPS. We're 0.88 attack speed, and he's 1.62, so we attack twice as fast. So we're doing 2 attacks, and time he's doing 1. We're doing 10 damage for when he's doing 4. So we focus on the villagers here over the Yumi, because like we can probably like kill all those Yumi, but then the tower gets up, so delaying the tower is key. We're macroing right now, and it costs us a little bit of, like, it costs us this tower. So I think if we had played a little bit better, we'd leave these guys here, and we just fight. I was just worried, because we're pretty much at the TC range, and I knew I was close to the TC range, so I didn't want to overextend and get wrecked by the TC. So we just trade out, and we're going to seed the gold, but we do have a nice little villager lead, so that's going to help kind of be able to keep a solid position here. We have been deciding to go deer stones as of late. And I've been going deer stones whenever I think I'm fighting against a more aggressive opponent, or a possibility of an aggressive opponent. Japanese has been mostly like a feudal type of play, is kind of what I've been seeing in terms of my builds. Like I feel like it's a feudal play. And as you can see here, he's already on triple production buildings. So if I'm investing in trade right now, my army would not be this big. It really does chew up those resources. So that's kind of why we go for the delayed trade. Anytime we're fighting against someone that I think might be cranking out resources, as well as, you know, and you can gauge that pretty much with those first few manga die. And versus if I open Silver Tree, like if I do delay trade, sure, I'll be set up for trade anyways, but and the trade will be cheaper to get going. But the big thing is I'm gonna lose that yam. That's gonna help a little early on, and it's just a little bit that investment a little bit earlier into trade does affect your build pretty good. So we're able to snipe another villager and get a lot of idle time. That's 15 villagers have been idle for almost, I want to say a good 20 seconds here. That's almost 300 resources worth. That's a couple of units. And, you know, those little things definitely switch things up. I dive into his army here, a little bit sloppy. And then we try to click around and over. And he had walled this over here. So he's starting to throw up walls, and that fucks up my movement here. A little bit unfortunate. And behind this, we're trying to see. So we see that walls are going up. He's going to be in a pretty strong position. We've gotten some damage in. We've gotten 4 villagers. So markets are coming up for us now. It's not going to be the best trade route, but it is probably about 3/4 of a map. So of map length, I'd say. If not a little bit more, right? It's I mean, it's close. It's almost a full map like there, right? From here all the way to here. It's pretty close because I think full map length is 71, 77, something like that. If you look at our vision real quick, we can see that I've got good vision here. We do have a pocket of villagers out over here. So we do have to be a little bit careful here. We don't want to... We can take this army with ours right now. You can see army value-wise, he's at 660, we have 1400. But a big thing with the Mangudai is they're expensive, but that army value isn't like your true value. Like that, especially against range units. They're really about bending and not breaking. They're just about chewing up an army slow and steady. We move our army, and we're tapping up a outpost because we see that he's rotating, and we can't really contest it yet, but we can at least get a tower up, which will help save some of these villagers. We have 10 vills here, so we're going to lose at least 5 of these guys. So it's going to set us in a weird spot in terms of our eco. And we lose 4, so we're now on the same grounds in terms of eco. And we're just going to pull our Mangudai back. We're just going to lose them here pretty easily. Versus with the Keshiks, we're not going to get... we're not going to lose anything. I get a little bit ambitious here. I bring the Mangudai back just to help chunk these down a little bit faster. But really, all I do is I lose 2 Mangudai, right? Because these Keshiks would have cleaned this up 100%. I had a 3rd Keshik on the way too, so sending this Mangudai to go deal with that was a bad idea. I lose 2 more for free, so bad play there by me. But the quick tapping the outpost was definitely the right move. I probably should have done it a little bit sooner. But the big thing is, our trade is just starting. So our first trade is coming out after this aggression, so he has no idea we're trading. And we're getting 57, 53. So yeah, your optimal is like 70. So we're getting like 80% of a full size map. So it's a pretty good trade route. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. We do rotate onto Boar here. A little bit of miss micro. We're not able to pull this villager back. So kind of a mistake on our part. We do spot the walls along the front of his base. So he's playing super defensive. He is going up to his 2nd TC now. And this is one thing about the Japanese. They get passive stone when mining gold, and passive gold when mining stone. So yeah, it's an interesting little dynamic that they have, because technically if you have 5 villagers, it's like you have 1 villager on gold, right? So it's definitely cool. It's a cool little feature of their civ, right? Because it opens up a lot of interesting macro dynamics, and that's definitely something I'm still trying to figure out a little bit better. Okay, our trade is going. We are investing pretty heavily into trade, and this is kind of what I mean by like waiting on investing into trade. We take map control, we invested in army, and we win the army fights. And the threat of trade is always there, but he hasn't spotted it out, which is even better in this case specifically. And then army value wise, like army count, we only have 1 more, but army value wise, we're almost 4 times the army value. So we're running around. We do spot this villager that's going to go build walls. So nice little pick here again, giving us a nice little lead in terms of villagers again. He has up to 2 TC, but we're on 2 markets, right? Which is even better than 2 TC. Now the one big thing is, well, we pull back here, we send a couple of horses over here to raid. He does a really good job of garrisoning these villagers on the TC, but he is going to lose another villager or 2. And while we do that, he pulls his army back, and this is mostly bowmen. He does have a couple of hardened spearmen in there. Without the spearmen, I think we just absolutely wrecked this army, right? We trade super well, so those couple of spearmen really help. And Keshik's over here is getting idle time. He's got 7 villagers idle this whole time, so these little hunks of damage at eco definitely start adding up, right? Stables are going. We've gone on to triple stables because he's heavy on archers. and he kind of has to be to deal with the Mangadai. And it's all about the splits from there, right? So he does mess up. He pulls only his archers over here. We do see this, and we're just going to keep pulling this army as far away as we can. And then we're going to take the Keshiks and engage. We do engage with the Mangadai as well, but yeah, the proper play was to just take only the Keshiks and engage. We do pull back these Mangadai, right? So he loses a big army here. He has a nice little play here, nice a little bit of foresight to pull 7 villagers up onto this stone line up over here. If he had dropped something over here, like some walls or stuff, I probably wouldn't have noticed until later, so that was a little bit of a misplay on his part. And then he tries to move forward here on the middle and get some aggro in, and we're able to completely shut this down. And again, the big thing is that we're applying a bunch of aggro in the back of his base, and that's kind of messing up his focus, right? We do kill the Bannerman at the last second, which is actually a really big deal because it is an expensive unit, and it does provide a really nice buff. So taking out one Bannerman is huge, but he does have another one back here, so... Nice little engage. He starts pushing us here. We do fall back because this would absolutely destroy our cav army. We're starting to build a tower over here, and he notices, and we don't pull back our troops. So it was a little bit of a mistake on our part. Over here, we're aggroing the back of his base. We are burning down this house. At least we wanted to. And you can see that these Keshiks, like, just can sit, you know, and do some pretty good damage. And I probably could have just committed to those Keshiks under here, right? Because it's just the TC that's chunking away at us. We pull our gold villagers to drop some infrastructure. Again, we have plenty of gold. We're up to 20 traders now. And I probably could have pulled these villagers off of gold completely and transition onto these berries and then maybe onto wood. But we're just leaving it just in case. And then after we almost run into a really bad fight here. I mean, we do, right? We lose one, but we're able to survive and get out. And our Khan was going to start sneaking out, and he was able to send a villager kind of during all of this, close this off. And we see his Yumi here, and we're going to go ahead and try to sneak out of here. And we did not know that this was fully walled, so we end up trapping our Khan and 3 Mangadai back here. It was a little bit unfortunate. Kashik are still being chased by these spearmen. And meanwhile, in the front of the base, we're massing a big army. You can see army value-wise, again, we're still about 4 times ahead. And our Keshiks find these spearmen. We try to micro a little bit. We save that one Keshik. And from here, we start burning these houses, right? And unfortunately, we lose track of these guys, and they get picked up by the spearmen. So, just a little bit of sloppiness. But we are going for castle here. He's also going for castle, so good job to our opponent. Focusing on macroing up. But you can see that the eco damage that's been done and the eco lead that we have, because we are aging up with 4,000 army value, and he's aging up and he's got 1,000 army value, right? So we're going to be able to really push and hold off of this, right? We're not too worried about a push on his part. Over here, we're trying to find a hole in the wall, and we find that we're completely closed in. So kind of shitty losing the cons right there, but it just is what it is. Up to 28 traders. Even though he's on 2 TC, he's lost a few villagers. We've killed 11. But the big thing is that we're outblowing him with trade right now. And then from here, we were going to have to see really what happens, right? Because if he is able to hold this push with an army and stuff that we're going to do, we have to transition into a second TC, basically, to keep our eco going in a good spot. But we'll kind of see, we'll kind of get a feel for armies. If, you know, it's all about the trades and like the armies that you're able to kill, right? Because you can kind of tell if you're able to kill a certain amount of army, you're in a pretty good spot, right? And he's very wood heavy right now. So he gets a little bit ambitious. If we look at our vision, with this tower I can see, you know, he's moving forward. This is 10 spearmen, 12 archers. couple bannermen, so we can beat this 100%. And I want him to think that he can get away with this relic, right? So I let him pick it, and then we're just gonna dive this. And now this army is enveloped, right? So his 1300 value army, we have about 6,000 army value. He loses that 1300 value, 1400 value, and we lose 400 value. So this is just kind of one of those things where if you have a really overwhelming force, it does a lot of damage. And we have our veterans. You know, these are veteran Keshik, veteran Mangadai, and his units were like, I don't even know if they were veteran yet. Yeah, veteran archer wasn't yet, but veteran spearman as well. So he didn't have his upgrades in. He gets really greedy with this relic because he's got a relic in the back of his base. And he's got his 2 Yori Shirus here. So not grabbing these Yori Shirus was a really greedy play. Because if he grabs those Yori Shirus, drops it onto his forge, he gets free gold. You get basically a relic. If it drops on the farmhouse, he gets free food. So there's a lot of play that can be made with this Yori Shirus. It's a really strong landmark. I really like this landmark and the way it plays because the scaling for it economically is huge. He goes for the Shogunate Castle, and I'm just kind of like burning stuff down, but I'm seeing the damage that this thing does, and it was pretty crazy. He's basically one-shotting my guys, right? And it was hard to tell like what the damage was. I was trying to see what the damage was, right? Because I was like, I'm getting hit, right? And I couldn't tell what the damage was because I'm not getting like a unit that's like half shot up or anything. And then I finally like noticed, oh, I'm just losing them. Like they're getting one shot, so that's why I back out, right? 81 rocket, hustle 110, so he's doing 190 damage versus infantry and cavalry. And my Keshiks are 175, so he one shots them. And yeah, so that's why I kind of have to just fall back because I mean I can sit there and do that. One thing I should have done, I could have split like some of these forces and wrapped around and started looking for raids on different parts of his base. But I just wanted to, I wasn't really sure what his army strength was at, like where he was at. I felt like I was way ahead, and I'm definitely way ahead. But even with this cav comp, you have to be pretty careful because your counter units trade so well against you that you can just die, right? So, and since it was a tourney match, I'm just gonna play it safe. We're just gonna slow siege. I definitely think we messed up by not finding a little bit more aggro here. And he's getting gold over here from this forge. And this is where I was, because I knew he had this gold mine, but I thought like that was his only gold, but he really had another gold in the back. He really does need to get a, okay, he's got the Shinto Shrine up. He's able to pick that up, and he's going to start picking up his Yori Shirus now. And yeah, you can see we're just doing decent damage here. And this is where we're going to go raiding with the Mangadai. This is a nice force. It's 22. It was like 30, right? But they got chewed up. And we just got to stay out of this rocket range. That shit is one-shotted for days. We run into some villagers here. And this is, again, with this, I felt like we like 100% just secured the win because we just did a lot of villager kills. And I figured he had a bunch of farms and stuff under his TC. You can fit all the farms you need as Japanese under your TC if you have the space to do it right. So we were a little bit we knew we were gonna be a little bit screwed in that regards. In terms of food raiding, but we should be able to find wood lines, right? So that's why we're looking around for wood lines, for gold lines, because we figured that would be out of TC range. As you can see, this wood line is out of TC range. We probably could have turned and fought this, but we're just we're on a shift queue over here. We're just looking for villages, right? We'll deal with the army chasing us afterwards. And then we're just pushing up here in the front, bringing a tower up, getting some vision. We pulled 5 villagers just to start building infrastructure. We're up at 32. Traders is a really good amount. And we turn and fight this army. And again, we're like fighting this army, but we're not like actually committing to it. We're just looking for more raids. We're trying to find villagers, and he does a nice little rotation behind us. So he does a good job reading that we just check that corner, and we're not going to think anything's there. so he pulls 20 vills to that corner. So little things like that definitely are pretty big. This is also one of those things where having a scout with your army is really big, and that's one thing that I messed up. I stopped incorporating more than my con into the army, and I usually pull my con with my Mangadai, and that's something that I should have done here, because it's such a big deal to find units for your Mangadai, right? And it actually comes up to be a really big thing next in the finals match too. Not having like a couple of big plays were because I had a scout, and a couple of big plays I missed because I didn't have a scout. So definitely some things that could have been changed. So over here we're running around. We're gonna go and try to find more villagers. We know that he's running out of wood, right? You can see that this is all chopped up, and so we're trying to find where his wood villagers are at. We knew this wasn't chopped through, so he should be doing that somewhere. He hits the bell, unhits the bell, and he's kind of getting into panic over here. We get under the wood line, only find a couple of villages here, right? So we know that he's no longer there. He should be somewhere else. Our mangoes are safe. We got springolds out. He's trying to make springolds now, and we really need to rotate this army further south. He takes out the rams, but the mangoes are just absolutely ripping, right? Yeah, look at those hits with the mangoes, impressive. So we've done a bad job idling these guys. We're trying to find a hole over here, and we see that he's walled over here. So we're gonna fall back, and this is where we mess up. We should have just come over to the woodlands, right? We're trying to find where they're at, and it just slipped our mind. Behind this, we're trying to deal with the springolds over here at the front, and with the rams and stuff. So because if we lose our mangoes, it's kind of a bad deal, but we're able to push back these springolds. We're not in a safe spot, and again, we're looking for troops. We rotate to this back wood line, and we're going to start killing villages here. We do have a lot of villager kills, and we find these villages, so I think that, oh yeah, okay, we've got all of his wood villagers now. Again, I totally forgot about these guys, didn't like incorporate them. Curl ties in the base, getting great healing. And yeah, it sucks for our Kashyyyks here because they just get one shot, but the mangoes are kind of able to hold here. Traction trebuchets up, and we got a springald up in about. So our army's just getting like absolutely nuked here. You can see destroyed value. He's got almost 20,000 in terms of destroyed value. But he doesn't have villagers here to really deal with this, and the Rams are getting their money's worth right now. If they just destroying barracks is huge, because all of a sudden you're not able to produce units, right? His production, like just for infantry, just dropped 25%, right? When you don't have a lot and you start losing it, it gets really bad. So now from 4 barracks down to 2, and there's just no pathway to like recovery, right? Over here we rotate our Mangadai, because we still see that there's siege works, like siege stuff coming out, archers coming out, so we come rotate, and we do find some villagers on wood. And we thought he might be on this gold, honestly. And we weren't even looking for wood villagers. It's a little bit of a mistake on our part. Luckily, the Mangadite are able to kind of kill a couple here, so we're able to get some kills here. And again, we have a nice mango mass here. We got 3 mangoes, a siege workshop up front, dropping traction trebuchets. We got 2 trebuchets now, and we can just constantly produce, right? And he's just in a rough spot, so he loses more villagers here. He's lost 70 villas, and he's only got 3 villagers left on this woodland. So we start taking some of these villas to hit the back of this farms, and yeah, he's definitely done for at this point, right? So he'll be GGing. I'm here shortly. Okay, yeah, there we go. So good game to our opponent. It was interesting. You can see even like now, like he's got 3 Yorishiro, so he's basically in that time of that game he had up to 5 relics. So if you can play. It's interesting, right? If you can Yorishiro and then drop some buildings next to it, and that you can keep safe, you can really get a ton of resources. So it's pretty interesting. So that would be that match, guys. And I'm going to record the finals, and then we should hopefully start getting into a little bit more varied stuff. I still want to be doing Mongols versus other civs. I'll still be playing Mongols in ranked, but I do want to try out some of the new civs because they have some really interesting stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.